delay, a big slow, or better still, a good couple of kills.
It's been really actually quite clever by Fancy because they were using utility of their own to really burn out that timer for as long as possible. They've kind of adapted to Revenant's playstyle somewhat, and nizzy ready and waiting at the back here. Here we go. There we go. Beautiful trade from both teams. Killer's taking on blackhawk, Logi taking on nizzy, but Village is there to take down Whimp. Logi onto YESicaN, and Suka and Visio having a little bit of a field day here as Paradox is left by themselves in a 1 versus 2. Seems to be going for the exit flag over the objective focus, and
after every player was sort of pinged by the bait horn, he didn't overextend. He realized that time was what he needed on his side there, not the kills. So nice bit of discipline. It works out very nicely for Fancy. And for Revenant, yes, they are able to almost get last bit of A main control. That's almost instantly retaken. Killer's on the Vandal. He's earned it after the performance on the first round. We'll be shutting down Whimp with the rest of Revenant now, stacking up in mid and getting ready to assault this position. Guarded for the time being by nizzy. But with only a ghost, what good can he do? Information on the first. There's the swing and the attempt to trade. It's very laboured by both teams. Nonetheless, though, the information is there. As Revenant, they slowly get their mid control.
Oh, beautiful shot there by nizzy. Paradox falling down. A second one onto blackhawk as well. That's certainly going to start to apply the pressure on the remaining 2 players of Revenant. There we go.
Down A.
Coming through there. As BADlove falls, but there we go. Killer's ready.
Spectres on Fancy in the hands of Suka and YESicaN. That's sort of equalized by having this operator. And with an early operator, I think there's probably a world here where Revenant don't expect it. As they sit outside of A, they're waiting to see where the Fancy aggression is. It's over in mid, but no one's there as an early warning system.
That's 100% it. Fancy leaving A pretty much nice and open for the taking. But again, if you're Revenant, you really want to be careful, because at this point, if you're Revenant, it would feel like a trap going into that kind of situation, wouldn't it? But here we go. The rotation is coming back, but a little bit squiddy around this garden area. Killer's taking down blackhawk, though, just to pad out the defensive favour a little bit more. But look at this. Revenant actually being able to get fully into sight now. That spike is firmly punched down.
I love it's a clean kill onto Visio to garner that control needed. And luckily for Fancy, Revenant are currently trapped on this site. It's only Whimp who's been able to get back to main. However, what good can they do, especially at point blank? YESicaN's going to lead this charge. The initial flash has been avoided. It's laboured by YESicaN. Good for the first, but the collapse is coming in now. BADlove, what could he do? Finished off by Killers. It's all on Whimp. He's won this before. He needs to find a way to do it again. The Swarm Grenade goes off. Can he deploy it? Yes, he can, but not in the right place. The fuse will come through. Fancy make it 3 as they get on
2. So again, wondering if that will just be saved for the potential inevitable collapse. Again, Revenant really are making their way into the site now, and regardless of the fact that the aggression that we're now starting to see from Fancy is coming through.
Suppressing. Shadows traveling.
Here we go. Collapse is starting to go through. Visio ready and waiting, trying to get a few lucky shots through the smoke, but it's not going to come through just yet. And that spike, once again, is going to be forced down. So it's another retake situation for Fancy. Killer's trying to get their way up into that heaven spot just to start to apply the pressure, start to apply those crossfires. And there we go. There's that cosmic divide that I was talking about. And this is exactly what we want to see from Revenant. A really comfortable post plan in theory. But will it work out in practice?
So a lot of players pushed up to here. Trying to get through his position is going to be damn difficult. Logi's already hit by the operator, finished off by YESicaN, who's going to have some perfect flashes to get through. Good for 1, good for 2. Can't quite make it through, but Visio's there to clean up the rest. It's all on to BADlove, who's having to dance around Generator. There are only so many angles he can cover at once. For Fancy, that is a bloody clean retake. And it looks like Fancy, the way they've been staging these retakes, is 1 away from their ults, which means the longer this round goes on for, the better off they'll be here. With, once again, Visio going for the early aggression. Black is going to allow him to swing out, but YESicaN, his run it back is going to quickly be mitigated by a Whimp through the wall there. Not too much damage being done. However, this is the one to give that killing blow. Out comes YESicaN. It's the main Phoenix now, as it turns out to be an absolute collapse onto these players towards the back of the main Fancy.
And kind of got caught into some really uncomfortable positions that they couldn't really get out of.
That's a clean shot. That's a bloody clean shot from nizzy. Legs down blackhawk. Now remember, Revenant have a plethora of ultimate abilities to help them here. The issue is actually being in a position to execute them with only Sheriffs, with only Spectres here or there. This is going to miss the Prowler, so he's going to have to reposition. He's going to give up quite a bit of control in mid, but with the attacker Killjoy ult going down, nizzy now knows where the attack's coming from. Suka in mid has seen that they have control over in mid, but they're able to wallbang it. There goes that generator. And now nizzy licking another player. This is where things get really dire for Revenant. nizzy, backside continues to be a sentinel of light, just raining down death upon everyone. Trying to get away, just about does so. Whimp will finish the job onto Suka in the meantime, but with nizzy and Killers both continuing to just work off one another, and one thing to the other's hiding. The to and fro is perfect. Eventually the utility will finish off nizzy, but it's too little.
You know that yes, you're approaching from the high ground, but there's so many lines of sight that can be cut off there because of how that layout at the back is. It's a really uncomfortable one to try and contest at times, and they didn't really seem to be able to use the util they needed to try and get that to work, especially when, you know, nizzy really landing his shots.
The approach there for Whimp as well, and it's just perfect. Fancy, their aggression is so calculated, it's so methodical, and the wall bang! It does so much damage! Yes, the Nightfall's committed, but does it matter?
And it's not actually going to be contested at the moment. So they're going to try and hold off as best they can. You know, you've got a little bit of a back check there, a little bit of a flank watch coming through by Logi, and again, also Whimp holding mid as well, just in case a flank does come through. And that's at least going to protect the other three players of Revenant as they try and make their way. But ready and waiting will be nizzy and Visio. Here we go. There's one by Visio. There's one by nizzy. Paradox is actually able to trade it back. So that's at least one down for the count. And that spike is going to be forced. It's going to be cheese. But there we go. Can they actually manage to get blackhawk up? No, they can't, because nizzy with the op is just going to take down Paradox. Blackhawk's going to fall too. And now Portman and Logi have to try and save this. But there we go. A cleanup that's ultimately shut down by nizzy. Once again, feeling themselves a little bit. We've seen him pop off in the server before, but goodness gracious me, is he going to get away with this? Yes, he is. Wait, no.
See, that's all they need. 8-0 they now lead with a huge ult advantage going into the 9th round here. For Revenant, it is once again going to be this setup towards A. This time, though, the Killjoy's been left to lurk towards B Link in an attempt to try and mitigate the aggression that's been coming out of Fancy.
Spike drop now. And the only thing they can do is really just play safely, hold all these angles possible from the get-go. They know his aggression is there. There we go. Paradox taking on Killers, but YESicaN ready to trade it back onto Whimp. Paradox, the second one down to YESicaN as Blackhawk takes down Visio as well. This is already looking so much better for Revenant. They only have to deal with nizzy and Suka, but I say that, we've seen how nizzy can pop off. As long as they can maintain this slight control now, this should be nice and good. And there we go, nizzy falls down. BADlove, beautiful pick there, getting on the flank. Karuni, poor Suka is left in a 1 versus 4 retake, and not exactly the most favourable position to be in. Knows he has to bait out these 1 versus 1s, but Revenant aren't going to give it to him just yet. So maybe a little bit of an op save here as they hightail it all the way to B. I mean, gotta respect it. I think that's the only thing you really can do in this situation, isn't it, Graham?
Yeah. No, it absolutely is. What I really liked there was Revenant sort of expecting the aggression of Fancy. Now that they're sort of honed to the fact that Fancy will fight you everywhere they can, we're starting to see players just push in an anti-flash position. I believe that may have been Logi pushing up through mid there on short, just had his face to the wall. He knew a Phoenix flash was coming from somewhere. When that flash did come in, and we saw the Phoenix go through, you see the comeback happening, not just on Ascent, but maybe in the series.
I think they have a chance. Again, it's a best of 5. There's a long, long way to go yet, and I think the main thing is if they do get beaten out here, and they get beaten out like pretty badly in terms of round differential, they just have to maintain their composure, which I think they fully can do.
You're right. I'm inclined to agree with you. Bearing in mind, Revenant are on boot camp, so they have the coach behind them, they have the support staff behind them. Being able to sort of rest between rounds or between maps is going to become much easier for them. And now with a push through short, they're about to show nizzy how easy it can be as they get ready to assault this initial position by Suka, held by Tree. In mid, nizzy, he attempt the aggression here. Flash is going to force him out of position. Instead, he doesn't even want to risk the engagement. Backs off. BADlove now. Spots out the Phoenix as well with the Owl drone. Gets the hit on the target. But little does he know the Omen is still playing from Wine here. Right now, there is no significant position that can be played for Fancy, because everywhere they are is going to be outflanked. Suka and YESicaN, realizing they can't run, they just keep fighting. nizzy in mid is going to be spotted out by the flank of Logi. It's all onto Logi. Good for the first. He knows about killers. Doesn't necessarily mean he can kill him, though. nizzy so far. Over on Revenant, there is going to be a lockdown, Nightfall, and Cosmic Divide all available for them. But getting into the position to utilize them is where they really need to be effective.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And again, last time they tried to use that lockdown, it did go a little bit squiffy for them. The aggression there yet again. YESicaN, but it's immediately traded back out. Paradox getting two there. A little bit of a run and gun on both sides, but at least both maintaining the same casualties. A 3 versus 3 as Killers and Whimp go for a little bit of a ring around the rosy, but Whimp is going to bring that one out. Can this trade come through from nizzy? Yes, it can. Of course it does. nizzy every time, and now they're putting out the operator. Beautiful shot there, taking out Paradox. Can they find BADlove, or can BADlove fade out these engagements? There's at least one. Taking out Suka. Can use a little bit of intel here just to work out where nizzy is, and there we go. That's at least going to hold nizzy back a little bit, and nizzy's not scared at all. nizzy's like, yeah, you can have my location. I'm still going to hold this angle. Come get me, bro. I love to see this. There we go. Beautiful shot there, nizzy.
He's just lightning fast. Revenant now. Fortunately, with only one round to their name, they identify it's going to be a fast hit towards B. The null command instantly deployed. nizzy isn't in a position to help, which means Killers has to go huge here. He does have the friendly from the shadows to assist him there. Swing comes out, YESicaN, good for the first on the flank, but it's just a slaughter! Fancy United are looking immortal right now, Grace.
Fade. I think that the way that they try and use Fade as a duelist is actually really spicy. And I actually like that about Revenant a lot. I like it when people want to be creative with it and they want to, try what they can when it comes to that util. So it's just more the factor of Paradox and, the rest of the team using the utility to enable these opening engagements. And it's very difficult when you've got players like nizzy as well. Players like nizzy, players like YESicaN, who are just kind of just running at you like ferocious beasts half the time. And it's, again, what utility do you have to slow that down? Because it's a lot of information utility, but nothing really to delay or push them back outside of maybe the KO, maybe a few smokes and things like that. Maybe, it's an uncomfortable way to have to attack.
It is. And now for Revenant, they get ready for it's a very defensive setup from Revenant as well. Fancy on the flip side, they spent their pistol round pushing. Revenant, with the amount of utility they have, they can just back off. The dagger's going to be avoided by Whimp, which means all of this Killjoy utility is going to put Fancy at the mercy of the swarm grenades. And actually, they don't even want to risk it. Out comes the full push. Out goes those swarm grenades. Whimp's good for the first, but I imagine there's more to come. YESicaN already tagged, has to drop down, already reloading. BADlove chimes in, and it's separated the attacking force thanks to those swarm grenades. From backside, Whimp continues to just hemorrhage the HP of Fancy, leaving 2 players left standing. 13 seconds to push with. Dare I say it, Grace, they're just going to be timed out, even if they get these kills.
There we go. To see this go very, very close would be us being spoiled, and that's what I want to see.
Remember as well, there's a lot of money on the line here. Like, there's an extra 4,000 USD. That's got to really start to add the pressure. And I'm not sure. I would argue that Fantasy may be immune to the pressure. Revenant a little bit less experienced, but nonetheless, a team that once again are on bootcamp with a strong support staff. Maybe the money is about to pale in comparison to the prestige toppling Fantasy. 11-2, the scoreline. They need to play perfectly. With Logi falling, suddenly Fantasy look pretty damn effective, even with just classics and the odd headhunter.
100%. Oh, beautiful little ratty angle being held there by Blackhawk. That's exactly what I want to see. Get in their heads a little bit. Why don't you? And look at this. They all know where this player is the other side of boxes now, but Whimp's going to collect one while they're distracted a little bit by Suka there. And
down A.
Beautiful cleanup from the side of Revenant. Poor Fisher all left by himself, and the tiniest bit of help tickle him and he'll fall over. A little bit of an uncomfortable situation for him to try and clutch out. Yeah, and all that you could be sent towards him. There we go. Blackhawk finish.
You also need to remember as well that there's I would argue that the fact Fancy were able to do that much damage with the pistols makes me worried what they can do with Vandals. And it's a sort of the odd bulldog here. It's not the best to buy for Revenants, but it's actually a very good buy considering the circumstances. Fancy go for fast mid control here. That Hornet is going to at least betray their intentions. Paradox spotted out but not punished yet, while the rest of Revenant respond with a push through main. However, that means fighting nizzy, and I couldn't think of anything I'd like to do less right now than fight nizzy when he's playing well, as blackhawk now hopes for a timing here. And gets it. nizzy falls. He'll rise to the occasion. The rest of the Fancy, though, they've already committed to their rotations, looking to hit this ace site now. Whimp is going to be the next player up to bat.
Absolutely, and YESicaN looking for this player. The flash goes out, and that's going to force Whimp back a little bit. Not immediately going to close that door, willing to contest it by trade. There we go. Whimp taking out killers, but is immediately traded out. So both casualties going on both sides right now. A 4 versus 3. Let's win, but this here is going to whittle down Revenant a little bit more. Logi gets a pick there. YESicaN trades it back on blackhawk. Shutting down YESicaN for Suka in a 1 versus 2. Wants to try and cheese the plant a little bit, but is aware they are in this 1 versus 2. Beautiful duo. They accidentally conga line too much, and Suka is going to clean that up. That should not have happened. Revenant, they were playing that really well. They were pushing together. They had the right spacing, and then at the last minute, Krem, the last minute, they conga line a bit too easily, and that trade doesn't come through. Look at this. Oh no! They had the right
onto YESicaN. How on earth is he allowed to get away with that? And you look at the buy from Revenant. Remember, this is map points in our opening match of this best of 3, or best of 5 even. Revenant's map pick, and they're going into it with Stingers, Luckies. Is it enough? And Ares as well in the mix here. Well, hey, Stingers enough. It is traded very swiftly though, but the Franklin's going to draw these players out. YESicaN chimes in. BADlove instantly able to trade. Now the Bucky. Point blank! It doesn't get the first. He doesn't one pump. Logi's able to trade it, but that's got to be soul crushing. 2 versus 2 now, and as Fancy look to plant by generator, dare I say it, I'm getting a sense of deja vu here for Revenant. As 2 players get ready for a retake against what is going to be a very confident YESicaN.
You're dead.
This is with the run it back being popped, so YESicaN is able to down Logi here, who wants to hightail it out there, but the timer is ticking. There we go. YESicaN picking out Logi and Paradox ready and waiting, but ultimately there can only be 1 winner. And my, a 13-3 victory for Fancy going into this best of 5. Again, though, Revenant, they are on boot camp. Hopefully it doesn't rustle the jimmies too much, but that was just a phenomenal performance from the side.